This
Oh,
is
let's
Renee
go.
Dunnigan, a team member of the Soulful Entrepreneur Summit, which is happening February 27th through the 29th. Today, I'm excited to be joined by Alison Proffit, the creator of the summit and founder of Proffit Coach, for her Summit Speaker Spotlight interview, so you can get to know her a little better. Alison is not only the host of this event, she will also be speaking throughout the event. Let's dive in. Please introduce yourself and your business, Alison.
Well, hi, Renee. I'm so excited to have you joining us in this interview process. Thank you so much. So my name's Alison Proffit. As you mentioned, I am the creator of the Soulful Entrepreneur Summit, and my business is Proffit Coach. I'm a holistic business coach, so I love to integrate mind, body, spirit practices into helping people learn how to run their business in a joyful and soul-aligned way. I have a couple of main philosophies that I utilize. One is that joy is the best business strategy, and that taking what I call the KISS method is the best way. And in the corporate world, that means keep it simple, stupid. Some people are familiar with that. But I like to say keeping it soulfully simple is the way to go. And I have a background in human resources, sales, marketing, and operations. And a lot of those factors I bring into the work that I do, helping small business owners that are in their scaling stages figure out how to identify what their offers are, what their pricing is, how to package their offers, how to talk about it, and where to find their customers in a really soul-aligned and joyful way.
And Alison, what does it mean to you to be a soulful entrepreneur?
Oh, gosh. So for me, alignment is one of the most important things. So I think that when we are doing not just what we love doing, but when we love how we're doing it, the work becomes easier and we want to be doing it. And I think there's so much noise out there in the small business landscape of what you should be doing and what you have to be doing and how you're supposed to be doing all these things. And it's a lot of doing. And doing is important, of course. We have to take action in order to create things in this world and in our business. But we ought to be really paying attention to who we're being in that whole process. And I tried to start my business a couple of times prior to starting Proffit Coach, and I failed. And I really think that I failed in those attempts because I was really just doing what other people said was important for me to be doing, and I wasn't doing it in an aligned way. When I started Proffit Coach, I kind of just was like, I'm going to throw all that out the window and I'm going to take what I think is going to work for me and focus on that. And I had success really quickly. And I started to help other small business owners with that through the work I was doing. And the further in it I got, in particular in the sales conversation piece of things, people really didn't like sales. Even if they were making sales, they didn't really like the whole process of having sales conversations, and they would feel kind of cringy about it. And that used to be me as well. And part of my own origin story is, Renee, you and I met, and you actually helped me get the job at Constant Contact where I learned sales. And that time in my life was so pivotal because I just wanted to do this sales job and do it really well. And I wanted to leverage all of what I had acquired in my life experiences before that. I wanted to bring that into my work. And I really did that in that sales position. And so I love to really help people find that alignment and that love for one of the most critical pieces in their business, which is sales. Sales can be soulful. Sales is very service oriented if you know and understand how to do it in a way that's very aligned with you.
So true. So true. I understand the last time this event was held was in 2022 with another beautiful soul, Amanda Mundo. Love her. What has happened in life and business since then?
Yeah. So first, I just want to kind of make a comment. At the end of the 2022 summit, we had done some pre-event sales for the 2023 summit that we were going to be doing, and created the theme of release and everything at that particular time. And right around the time of the summit, Amanda was also going through a lot of different things in her life. And her and I really created this whole Soulful Entrepreneur Summit and movement together. And she was at a point really where for her, she had to move in a different direction to provide differently for her family. She's 4 kids, and running a business and being a stay-at-home mom was really a lot of work for her trying to balance those things. So she went in another direction. And part of me was pretty sad about that, actually, because we were kind of like peas in a pod in a lot of ways in our businesses. She was a big part of my marketing and branding. And so that happened. And then I had some pretty serious life events happen. I was sexually assaulted by a friend's husband in February 2022. And the summit had been in January 2022 at the end of the month. So it was about a month later that this traumatic experience happened in my life. And I obviously was just thrown into a tailspin of having to heal from a really traumatic experience. And the experience, I went right into a healing journey and got into therapy right away, but it impacted friendships. It impacted my financial stability because I couldn't show up for my business the way that I wanted to. And one of the things, and we'll be talking about this in one of the sessions, this was a major detour in my journey. And I kept trying to show up in my business and trying, and I had so much love and support from my community, from my clients, from my family and friends that did stick around. And I talked very openly about my experience because I'm a verbal processor and I'm a connector. And I knew that the experience wasn't my fault. And I just very much kept trying to show up for my business. And I came to a point in the middle of 2022 where I just was praying and praying for guidance of what I'm supposed to do. And I bring a lot of spirituality into my business. And I also help my clients connect with that for them. Given that my tagline is joy is the best business strategy, I was finding it hard to feel joyful about really anything in my business, and I was like, well, if I'm going to be trying to be full of integrity in what I'm doing, I need to take the advice that I would have given to any of my clients, which is if you need to step away and that feels soul aligned, then I need to do that. And so I ended up going back into a corporate HR role. And it's funny, before I went into the second interview for this position, I had ended up closing enough sales to last me from a cash flow perspective through the entire 6 months that were remaining in that year. Or not 6 months, I guess it was like 5 months because this was in August. And I was like, I'm not going to take this job. And then at the end of the interview, it felt like I was supposed to take the job because the leader was asking me if I had thought about how this HR position would affect my mental health, because I was super transparent about why I was looking for a job, because I thought, you know what, I don't have the energy to hold up any masks and pretend that everything's fine, right? Because if people ask me, oh, what were you doing before here? I was going to tell them I was running my own business. And of course, the next question naturally is, why did you leave your business to come back into an HR job? So I was really honest about it, and I released my business. And I stepped back into a corporate HR role, and it was everything that it needed to be. I ended up making a huge impact on this company. I ended up just pouring myself into my healing process, which I already was doing, but not worrying about the ups and downs of the financial journey of being an entrepreneur. Whether you're successful or not, it's maybe is a different level of ups and downs, but the money and the cash flow it's up and down. That's just how business goes. And it sort of took me, so I got that job in August 2022. And it took me until April of 2023 to actually fully release and finish grieving that I stepped away from my business. And I called it a sabbatical, but literally my whole business was on a shelf. And in April of last year of 23, I finally started closing all my accounts, and I canceled my CRM and I exported all my data, and because I kept putting money out for this business. And I ended up feeling very much like I was ready. I was ready to just both feet into this, whatever this chapter of my life was. And then in May, my mom ended up having a really major health scare. My mom has Alzheimer's, but she almost died from a pulmonary embolism. And I had to fly on a red eye. I packed for her funeral. We had to pull her do not resuscitate order. I mean, there was this major life experience, and I almost lost my mom. And that was in May of 2023. And that moment was such a spiritual 2x4 of because I had gotten disconnected from my joy because I was so consumed with this HR job because I was a solo HR practitioner. I was a department of one for a company that has 200 employees. And I realized that it was time to move. It was time to move on and not be in this job anymore. And it was time to jump back into my business. I remember thinking, no, like, really, God, this is what you want? And it was. And a couple of weeks later, I gave my notice. I gave them 2.5 months of notice. And when I came back into my business, which was in September of 2023, I had these like internal struggles of, do I want to do the summit again? Because the summit was something I created with Amanda, and I thought we were going to be soul sisters in the summit world forever. And I didn't know if I wanted to do it without her. I remember it was at the end of October. I went to a really great retreat that our opening keynote speaker, Christine Walsh, held. And at this retreat, as I was talking about the summit and what I had gone through in the previous year and a half, all of the other ladies that were at this retreat were like, you have to do it. You have to do this event. Every time you talk about it, you light up. And I'm like, I know it's my soul's expression in a tangible form, this event, and everybody loves it. And people say how transformative it is for them. And it just kind of felt like I had to do it. And I went to an event in November where I met Travis actually. And that weekend at this other event in November is really where I made the decision that I was going to do this event and I was going to do it by myself. I created the landing page and I picked the dates. And the start date of this year's event is actually the anniversary date of my assault. So there's a little bit of power behind the fact that I'm reclaiming that date. And when I was putting the landing page together, I went back to the graphics for the summit that I had created in 2022, and the theme was release. And I remember being like, whoa, I'm getting goosebumps just seeing it on paper. I was like, oh my gosh. And so I think that as small business owners, and I know this is a long answer to this question, but a lot has happened in a year and a half. And I think that there is so much that we go through as entrepreneurs and just in life in general. And we don't give ourselves permission to release. And we try to hold on and we try to do things by ourselves. And the idea of that is it's not real. And we have to release this pressure that we put on ourselves. We have to release our picture of what we think it's supposed to look like. So I did. I decided I'm going to do this event. I'm going to do it by myself. I'm going to use the theme release, which I had already created. And then a couple of weeks later is when Travis and I had a coffee chat and it turned into this amazing conversation. And it was so reminiscent of the energy and the connection that I felt with Amanda back in 2020 when her and I started working together. It literally was in the middle of this coffee meeting. I was like, I think that I would like to see if you want to co-host this event with me. And he said yes. So that's a lot of different things in what's happened since the last summit. I'm just so excited to be back in this summit world and reconnecting with people and expanding to new people as well.
Yes, I have had the blessed journey of being able to watch your journey, my little Gemini soul sister. And you do bring joy. You bring joy and fun into absolutely everything you do in business and in life. And you ask all the speakers to share their go-to song, that song that helps them get energized and pumped up. And I'm wondering, what's your go-to song and why is it your go-to?
So my go-to song this year, I have so many of them. So I usually end up adding multiple songs to the playlist that are mine. But the song this year is Joyful by Dante Bowie. And that's all there is to say about that. I mean, music, I think, is this universal language that can connect us and it transcends language. And I think that just the beat of this song, the lyric of this song, the message of the song it's such a joyful song. It's today's a new day. And that's true. We get to choose. That's really all we have is our free will and our choice.
Absolutely. I'm hearing it, I'm soaking it all in, and I'm absolutely identifying with that. So, yes, awesome. And we compile a summit playlist each year. And I can't wait to share this year's playlist of all the speaker songs so that every attendee can get energized before, during, and after the summit as well. And the link to the playlist will be in the description below. There is one on Spotify and also on YouTube. Alison, what are you excited about bringing to the summit?
Oh, I'm so excited to bring I can't just pick one. So I'm excited about our speakers. We've got some returning contributors. I'm excited about our panelists. I'm excited about the work that Travis does and the energy and the expertise he has in just the health and wellness and really taking that holistic aspect. Like I bring the holistic piece into the business stuff, but he's bringing it into just how we move, how we eat, how we sleep, how we breathe. I mean, those things are so critical because if we're not taking good care of ourselves, how are we able to show up for our business, right? And that's exactly what I did for myself. So I just love all parts of it. This is such a curated experience this year, and I'm excited to share a little bit more about the wisdom that I gained by stepping back into the HR world and the things that we as small business owners think are really important that other like pretty successful businesses just have no clue about. And we let that stuff stop us. So I'm just really excited about just peeling back the curtain and letting go of things and giving people permission to do that and helping them in that journey of identifying what do they need to release in their journey to soulful success.
I am so excited. I can't wait for all the juicy, joyful goodness. And even for myself, the release of all the stuff that's happened for me in the last year and a half. So thank you for bringing back all that you are and all that you do for this experience and sharing your gifts with all of us, Alison. Okay, are you ready? We're going on to our rapid fire round of questions. 1, 2, 3, go. Early riser or night owl?
Night owl. I'll rise early if I must, but it's not my favorite thing.
Beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Yes, I see you. Every time that Rocky Mountain range is lit up, so are you. I love it. Funnest memory from 2023?
In August, I got a chance to speak in person at a retreat event in North Carolina. And it was like my first re-entry, I guess you could say, fully into my business. And it was just a really powerful experience. And it was the first time I shared more about my story from stage. It was just profound and powerful. And it was such a reminder of what God wants for me, what he wants for me, and what he wants me to be doing with the gifts that he's planted in me.
And what is your biggest takeaway from 2023?
I think it's walk in faith and know that God has good plans for us in store.
Yes. Alison, thank you so much for sharing so authentically your journey, the triumphs, the challenges, all of that. I'm so glad that we get to know a little bit more about you through this interview.
Thank you so much, Renee.
So if you're listening or watching this, we want to personally invite you to join us at the 2024 Soulful Entrepreneur Summit. You can get more details and register for your tickets at getsoulfulsuccess.com. That's getsoulfulsuccess.com. The link will be in the video description below. And we can't wait to see everyone at the end of February 2024. Thanks again, Alison.
Thank you.